Hello, everyone. Today I want to share a story that is very close to my heart. This is not just a story. It is my reality, my pain, and my strength. It is about my father, a poor man who loved us more than anything in the world. He had nothing, yet he gave us everything. This is the story of my father's struggle, my mother's sacrifices, and our journey through pain, hunger, and loss. Stay with me as I take you through this emotional journey of love, suffering, and survival. Let's begin. My father was a poor man. His name was Ramesh. He had no money. He had no job. But he had a big heart. He loved us very much. He was always thinking about us. He wanted to give us food. He wanted to give us a good life. But life was very hard for him. My father had cancer. He was very sick. But he did not stop. He wanted to take care of us. He went out every day. He sat on the street. He asked people for money. He begged. Some people gave him money. Some people gave him food. But some people were not kind. They shouted at him. They pushed him. They said bad words. They called him lazy. They threw things at him. Sometimes shopkeepers chased him away. "Go away, beggar," they yelled. Some people spat near him to insult him. But my father did not stop. He was strong. He was brave. We lived in a small house. It was not really a house. It was a small hut. The roof had holes. When it rained, water came inside. My mother tried to fix it, but we had no money. My mother was also sad. She loved my father. She cried every night. But she was strong. She cooked food for us. She told us stories. She gave us hope. Our family was small. My father, my mother, my younger brother, my little sister, and me. My younger brother, Ravi, was only 10 years old. He was a quiet boy. He loved to draw. He used to take a stick and draw pictures in the mud outside our house. He always said, "One day I will become a great artist." But we had no money to buy him paper and colours. My little sister, Pooja, was only 6 years old. She was always smiling. She loved to play. She had a small doll that my father found one day. It was old and broken, but she loved it. She always held it in her hands. My mother, Sunita, was a very kind woman. She always cared for us. She worked hard. She washed clothes for people. She cleaned houses. But the money was very little. Sometimes we did not have enough food. But my mother always made sure we ate before her. She always said, "Children first. A mother can wait." My mother's life was full of pain and struggle. Every day she woke up before sunrise. She walked long distances to wash clothes for people. Some people paid her, but some did not. She had to beg them to give her money. Many times she returned home empty-handed. Her hands were rough and cracked from washing clothes in cold water. She was always tired, but she never showed it. At night, she massaged my father's weak legs. She never rested. She was always thinking about us. There were days when we had no food at all. We drank water to fill our stomachs. My father would go out begging for money. Some days he returned with nothing. We sat in the small hut, hungry and weak. My little sister cried at night because of hunger. My mother held her close, whispering stories to make her forget the pain. My father looked at us with tears in his eyes. He felt helpless, but he never gave up. He went out again the next day, hoping for kindness from strangers. But the world was cruel. Some people mocked him. "You are strong enough to work. Why do you beg?" they said. Others kicked his begging bowl and spilled the few coins he collected. Some shopkeepers refused to let him sit near their stores. They said he made their business look bad. One day, a man threw dirty water on him, laughing. "Go wash yourself, beggar," he said. My father did not say anything. He only picked up his bowl and walked to another place. My father became weaker. His body was in pain, but he still went out. He still begged. One day he came home with some bread. He was happy. He gave the bread to us. He did not eat. He always gave us food first. He always thought about us before himself. My mother cried in secret. She tried to be strong for us, but I saw her pain. Sometimes, at night, she sat alone outside, looking at the sky. I heard her whispering prayers. Please help my husband. Please save my children. She had no one to share her pain with. She had no family to help her. She only had us, and she never gave up on us. One day my father fell down on the road. He could not get up. Some people saw him, but they did not help. Some laughed, some walked away. But one kind man came. He took my father to the hospital. The doctor said my father was very sick. He needed medicine, but we had no money. My mother went to people. She asked for help. Some helped, some did not, but my mother did not stop. She got some money. The doctor gave my father medicine, but my father was very weak. He could not get better. One night my father held my hand. He looked at me. He smiled. He said, "Always be good. Always be kind." Then he closed his eyes. He went to sleep, but he did not wake up. He was gone. My mother screamed in pain. She held my father's hand, crying loudly. "Why did you leave us? What will we do now?" But there was no answer. She was broken. She lost her best friend, her partner, the man who always stood beside her. She sat next to my father's body for hours, not moving. Her eyes had no light. She was tired, weak, and full of sorrow. After my father's death, life became even harder. My mother had no time to cry. She had to find a way to feed us. She worked more, but the money was never enough. Some people showed kindness, but many still treated us badly. Some neighbors whispered, "That beggar's family will not survive long." My mother ignored them. She fought for us. Days passed and we struggled. We had no money for school. Ravi stopped drawing. Pooja stopped smiling. My mother became thinner. She ate even less than before. She gave all her food to us, but she never complained. She held our hands and said, "We will survive. We will not give up." Years later, we worked hard. We studied whenever we could. I found small jobs. Ravi started painting again. Pooja grew up and learned to sew. We all helped. My mother never let us forget my father's words. Be good, be kind. We carried his love in our hearts. Now, when I look back, I see my father's face. He was poor, but he was rich in love. He suffered, but he never gave up. He was a hero. And we, his children, never let his love go to waste. We built a life, not just for us, but in his memory. He will always live in our hearts. This story is a tribute to my father, a man who had nothing but gave us everything. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.